There was a time when the Victoria's Secret fashion show was more than a runway event. It was an obsession, a fantasy. But behind the glitz, the flawless bodies, and the angelic wings, there was a story of extreme pressure, fear, and joy. A story that would eventually lead to its shocking collapse. This is the untold story of how the most glamorous show in the world fell from grace. It was the dream of every model to wear the wings, to be part of something extraordinary. But the dream came with a price. This is the Victoria's Secret fashion show. The rise, the glory, and the downfall. In 1995, the world had never seen anything like it. A lingerie brand turning its runway into an event. It was daring, it was bold, but at the start, no one could have predicted what it would become. At first, it was about showcasing the brand's lingerie. But what Victoria's Secret did was turn the runway into a show, a fantasy. They realized they could sell more than just lingerie. They were selling a lifestyle. Kate Moss was one of the early stars, bringing her global fame to the show. She set the stage for what was to come. Supermodels turned into icons of beauty, desire, and perfection. By the late 90s, Victoria's Secret had done something no other fashion brand had. They created their own superstars. The Victoria's Secret Angels. The likes of Tyra Banks, Adriana Lima, and Giselle Bündchen weren't just models. They became global symbols of allure.
Kind of angel am I?
I don't know. It's hard to say what kind of angel am I.
Depends on my mood, how I wake up in the morning.
I think I am
I'm a fun angel.
I would say a sweet and vulnerable angel. Mellow, laid-back California girl angel.
A very, 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 very good angel.
The Victoria's Secret fashion show demanded perfection. These women went through grueling workouts, restrictive diets, and constant fittings. The pressure to maintain the angel look was immense. But while the angels dazzled the audience, behind the curtain, they dealt with the intense physical and mental toll of being a Victoria's Secret model. It was a world of joy and success, but also fear and pressure. At its peak, the Victoria's Secret fashion show was no longer just a fashion event. It was a global spectacle. Each year, the shows grew bigger, more extravagant, with set designs costing millions of dollars and A-list performers gracing the runway alongside the angels. It wasn't just about lingerie anymore. It was a performance, a spectacle that embodied the excesses of the early 2000s. Larger-than-life personalities, massive budgets, and the idea that beauty had to be perfect, flawless. But as the show grew bigger, so did the demands. The models became part of a fantasy that had to be maintained at all costs. Behind every flawless walk, there were hours of grueling preparation and pressure to meet the impossible standards set by the brand. But as the world evolved, Victoria's Secret struggled to keep up. In the late 2000s and 10s, the show began to face heavy criticism. The narrow beauty standards, the lack of diversity, and the over-sexualization of women were no longer accepted without question. The Victoria's Secret fashion show promoted a very specific idea of beauty: thin, tall, conventionally attractive. But the world was changing, and the brand wasn't. More people were calling for diversity and representation, but Victoria's Secret held on to the past. As other fashion brands embraced body positivity and diversity, Victoria's Secret remained stubbornly stuck in the past. The public began to turn away, and the once untouchable show started to lose its grip on the world. Behind the scenes, the pressure became unbearable for many models. As the public's demands for change grew, so did the strain on the angels. For some, like Adriana Lima, the decision to leave the show wasn't just about the end of a career, but about reclaiming their own identity. In 2019, Victoria's Secret made the shocking announcement that the fashion show, which had once captivated millions, was cancelled. The brand, once synonymous with fantasy and beauty, was forced to face the realities of the modern world. It was a wake-up call for the entire fashion industry. Victoria's Secret had clung too tightly to the past, and in the end, it was their refusal to change that led to their downfall. But the story of Victoria's Secret doesn't end with the cancellation. In an attempt to salvage the brand, they have begun to embrace a more inclusive message. Featuring models of all shapes, sizes, and backgrounds, they are attempting to rebuild their image for a new generation. The Victoria's Secret fashion show was a symbol of an era, one that celebrated a very specific kind of beauty. But as the world moved forward, the fantasy it sold became impossible to sustain. The fall of the show marks a new chapter in fashion, one that embraces all forms of beauty. As we look back, we can marvel at the spectacle, but we must also recognize the pain, the pressure, and the evolution that followed. For more video, please like and subscribe our channel.